Hey, thanks for joining us on today's Infinity Matrix live stream. Please consider this our gift to you as an exploration into the spiritual realm, the universal architecture of infinite possibilities. Here we teach, explore, experiment in order to share with you the secrets of the universe and its abundance of life-changing knowledge. Please remember to click subscribe and ring that bell to stay up to date with all of our continuing content.
We've all read stories, told stories, and made up stories. And this has remained a constant throughout all of recorded time. From paintings on cave walls and chiseled images upon stone tablets, where it seems humanity has an innate need to document the past and present. But what about the future? Your future? Have you ever contemplated writing your own story, creating a future memory? Not necessarily a novel to be published, but rather more like a roadmap or a guidebook to set your focus and even redirect the course of your current life's path. This week, we delve into the importance of putting fingers to keys, pen to paper, paint to canvas, or crayons to butcher block. Regardless of the medium, putting your thoughts, your dreams, and desires into a concise story that you will use as a roadmap, taking you on a wondrous adventure called your life.
And one of the strongest ways to program information into the matrix is by using the coding within a story. The structure of that code is very important to maximizing the impact on your reality. And if you think about why a particular story that you've heard has had an impact on you, you'll start to see the pattern or patterns that resonate with your particular vibrational structure. The vibration that resonates with you as your true authentic self. And then within those stories, you'll find that you relate with having these things within their structure. And that is, the story aligns with or is similar to the life theme that you've decided on. And we've done, previous streams in the last couple of weeks on life themes and gone over those, some examples of those. Or the story has elements which overlap or run parallel to your own life experiences. Or the sentences within the story talk to you in a way that is completely relatable, using recognizable phrases and words that are within your own personal lexicon, meaning your vocabulary and scope of knowledge around the topics or experiences in the story. And one of the oldest life themes that has been coded into our DNA is the one contained within the story structure of the hero's journey. Okay. And by contrast, that also means there's a structure of the victim's plight, right? Because you can't have one without the other. So what many people don't know or realize is that you can switch themes at any point in your timeline that you choose. Sometimes it happens consciously, but most times it's unconscious and influenced by outside forces, outside sources like society, media, peers, friends, or family. But today is your chance to take the reins and steer your momentum onto pathways that bring you more joy, happiness, abundance, and celebration. Welcome to episode 98 of Hacking the Infinity Matrix, a prelude to crafting your life story for inner and outer evolution. We'd love to hear where you're all tuning in from right now. So help us out so we don't have to guess. And just go ahead and tell us in the chat where you are right now. What's a city? What's the country that we are having this virtual connection and interaction with you at? Okay. And remember, when you interact with the information that you're learning, it increases your understanding, your comprehension, and your retention. But most importantly, it begins to initiate that important habit of implementation. And that's where the real impact will present itself. All right, there we go. Detroit, Michigan. Awesome. And if this is your first time, go ahead and keep dropping in the comments there. If you're somewhere around the world and you want to let us know where you're at, just so we can kind of see our global reach, that'd be amazing. If this is your first time joining us on the live streams, then we thank you for spending this time with us. We'd love to hear from you also, so that we can properly welcome you into the community. So go ahead and drop a hashtag first time if this is your first time interacting with us on a live stream, and just hashtag first time in the comments, so that we know who you are. And after the stream, one or both of us will circle around to personally greet and thank you for being here. All right. And then also goes, if you're on the replay as well, just go ahead and let us know. If you're on the replay, when you come back and watch the replays, go ahead and let us know where you're listening from, and go ahead and let us know if it's your first time. If you enjoy our content and would like to consume more of it, perhaps even binge watch in preparation for the new year. All right. You can find us on YouTube by using the handle at Infinity Matrix, and it'll be like you've clicked your heels and you're magically transported to all the previous episodes, all the interviews, and all what we call time clips. Okay, we'd appreciate it if you subscribe and hit the bell for notifications before you click your heels and end up somewhere else. All right, first time. Hey, Christopher, awesome, great to have you here. And if you're not already watching our content there, you can also join us in our private Facebook group. It's a growing community of almost 9,000 people, and all of similar mind in their desire to eliminate the negativity and the limitations and explore real life, legitimate ways of having more joy, happiness, and freedom by hacking the Infinity Matrix. It's free. Yeah, we got Ross has put the YouTube link in there. It's free for the private Facebook group. And all you have to do is head over to facebook.com/groups/the Infinity Matrix, answer all 3 questions, entry questions, and you'll be automatically accepted into the group. Okay. It's our way of kind of weeding out all the people that are coming in just to kind of spam the group, and also to make sure that you're in there for the right reasons. Okay. You'll also, the link is dropped in the comments. You'll also get the opportunity to join our VIP list for exclusive content throughout the year, and we've got some real great stuff coming in 2023.
We are so looking forward to 2023. It's going to be amazing. Believe it or not, regardless of what the news says, regardless of what the politician says, it is going to be phenomenal.
We're calling it the year of infinity.
Absolutely. Okay, so once upon a time are 4 extremely powerful words. They have engaged us from relatively an early age, when we were exposed to the magic of stories. Since human beings first walked the earth, we've been sharing stories, warning each other of mortal danger, teaching right from wrong, and inspiring our tribe and ourselves into action. There are public stories and private stories, and never the two shall meet until now. And if you're new to us, we are kind of we're from a both and mindset. There is no this and that. It is both and. And most of what people tell in their stories is absolutely true, just from their current point of view. And depending on what they emphasize or minimize, what they leave in, what they leave out, what they see, and what they want you to see, they all will tell their stories in a particular way to get a particular emotional response. All of us walk around with stories about our lives, why choices were made, why things went wrong, why we treated someone a certain way. Well, that's because obviously they deserved it. Why someone treated us a certain way, even though obviously we didn't deserve it. But stories are the way we make sense of our lives. But what happens when the stories we tell are misleading or incomplete or just wrong? Well, instead of providing clarity, these stories keep us stuck. Most assume that our circumstances shape our stories. But what we've found time and again is that the exact opposite happens. The way we narrate our lives shapes what we become. That's the danger of our stories, because they can really mess us up. But it also can be their power. Because what it means is that if you can change your stories, then you can change your life. And many of our stories are about feeling trapped, right? We feel imprisoned by our families, our jobs, our relationships, our pasts. And sometimes we even imprison ourselves with a narrative of self-flagellation. I know you all know the stories that everyone's life is better than mine story, courtesy of social media, I might add. There's the I'm the imposter story. There's the I'm unlovable story. The nothing will ever work out for me story. And when I say, hey, Alexa, and she doesn't answer, that means it's the she hates me story. And many are scared to take responsibility for their role in their own story, because they might just have to change. And that's the other common theme that we see in stories: change. These stories sound like this. A person says, I want to change, but what they really mean is I want another character in my story to change. It makes no sense, right? Why wouldn't you want the protagonist, who's the hero of the story, to change? You are the hero. And it might be because change, even really positive change, involves a surprising amount of loss. Loss of the familiar, even if the familiar is unpleasant or utterly miserable. At least we know the characters and the setting and the plot, right down to the reoccurring dialogue of this story. It's the same dialogue from 10 months ago, from 10 years ago, from 10 decades ago, over and over and over again. There's something oddly comforting about knowing exactly how the story is going to go every single time. Because to write a new chapter is to venture into the unknown. It's to stare into the abyss of a blank page. As any writer will tell you, there is nothing more terrifying than a blank page. But here's the thing. Once you edit your story, the next chapter becomes much easier to write. You know, we talk so much about our culture, about getting to know ourselves, but part of getting to know yourself is to unknow yourself and let go of the crappy version of your story that you've been telling yourself for frickin' decades. Do this so that you can live your life and not the story that you've been telling yourself about your life. That's how you create a better reality. While the latest science tells us that when we hear a story, our bodies actually react. They physically produce the hormone oxytocin. And we instantly start to form a connection with the person or persons that we're listening to. Well, couldn't that be ourselves too? Not only to that, but everyone's brain in the room begins to sync together, creating a coherence as a group. Because stories bind us together and they help us make sense of our experiences of the world. Those experiences, in turn, create the depth about all the things that you've achieved in your life so far. The series of events that led you listening to this live stream, your amazing adventures, as well as all the disastrous decisions you've made. All of these made you who you are today and will be tomorrow. You see where I'm going with this? So, do you share those stories? Do you share them with anyone? Or do you keep them deep down inside yourself? Most of us dismiss our own stories as either irrelevant, embarrassing, or just uninteresting. And yet, those stories are vital in helping your sphere of influence understand who you are, where you are in life, and where you are going. Now, when I say your sphere, I mean anyone that you communicate with, your spouse, your family, your friends, your team at work, or any of the thousands watching this live stream that you may interact with at some time. When we share our stories, a both and connection is created. So it's time to fess up. Is your current life on track? Is your story a drama, an adventure, a comedy, or perhaps it's a Greek tragedy? Because we know that the last couple of years have been all over the proverbial map, a roller coaster of emotions, events, and mayhem. But there's also life before all of this. So my question to you is, was it derailed or was it business as usual? What did that story say? And how will that story continue? When we think of 2022 as it nears a close, there are countless examples in which we've had either craft our own narratives or live the chaos of someone else's. We've had to explain COVID-19 viruses to children, friends, relatives, and try to reconnect with friends outside of your bursted bubbles of pandemic and political polarization. And when you did connect, what did you do? You told stories. Hopefully stories of perseverance and bravado, and not victimhood and persecution. That got you thinking, right? Because when we communicate through stories, be it in a new work project, connecting with someone in a fitness class, or been watching, a series on Netflix or our live streams, humans live in and through their stories, which is why it's important to understand what happens neurologically when we tell stories and why they resonate so much for us. Because our brains like stories. No, our brains love stories because clear narratives cut through distractions. Stories help us pay attention, particularly in this attention-starved era, where vying for people's focus is more coveted than ever before. When we see or hear a story, the neurons in our brains fire in the same patterns as the speaker who's telling the story. It's a process known as neural coupling, And according to research, these processes occur across many different areas of the brain and can induce a shared contextual model of the situation. The motor and the sensory cortices, as well as the frontal cortex, are all engaged during story creation and processing. With everyone involved, these networks are nurtured and solidified by feelings of anticipation of a story's resolution, involving the input of your brain's other form of candy, so to speak, called dopamine. That's why when we experience an emotionally charged event or hear a story of the same nature, certain parts of our brains release an excessive amount of dopamine, making it easier to remember something with greater accuracy. And if you're married or have a significant other, there's a good chance that you remember the exact details of the weather, the lighting, the smells of your first time meeting and the engagement later to follow. That dopamine surge is also why well-structured live streams and speeches resonate with us years after we've watched them. So when you're telling your story along with your intended outcome, this neural process works like magic. Because we live in a time, and actually a time-poor society, where we're encouraged to keep things brief, to stick to the facts, to ditch emotion for logic. But we are imaginative beings. We give our stories a voice. We allow them to resonate in the heart and the minds of the people that we interact with. Do you see how this is so beneficial to you? As soon as a story has been told, its power multiplies. As soon as it passes the lips, it exists in the imagination of both the teller and the listener. And it has momentum. Stories allow us to do more than just document our experience. They allow us to imagine and create what is yet to come. The traces of our past gap the narrative of our future and will continue to influence the stories that we tell. The simple 3-act structure, the beginning, the middle, and the end system, and everyone on the stream has a unique story to tell. And I guarantee that if we were to share the collective experiences of all of you, we'd have enough material for several books, TV shows, and movies. And yet many of us dismiss our past as uninteresting and irrelevant. I thought the same way. Now my past is my biggest asset. I draw power, strength, and courage from it. And now I challenge you to start sharing more of your story immediately. So when you leave this live stream today, rather than standing on your own, summarizing your experiences in 140 characters, whatever it is now, or uploading that perfect photo of yourself, find someone that you don't know. Share a little bit of who you are and where you're going, and reveal something about yourself. Tell them how it relates to your present, and then give them a glimpse into your future.
Yeah, and I think it's important to mention also that when you tell the story, again, it's not only the teller and the listener that it impacts, but it also impacts the matrix itself and the coding within the matrix as it reflects back to you what the truth and the core of that message is. And I don't know if those of you listening, if you've noticed that it seems like it seems like the collective uncertainty and global turmoil are becoming more and more of the norm in the theme of what people experience nowadays, right? The storm of chaotic stories are broadcasted throughout the infinity matrix, and it's affecting people in different ways. For those who haven't established a solid grounding foundation, the foundation of what their purpose or passion are, it's easy to get swept up and tossed around in the negativity, fears, and doubt. But for those who've aligned with that inner power of their true authentic self, the chaotic expression just becomes something they observe. They observe it from a place of curiosity, a place of learning, and a place of reflection of a reality that they know that they themselves prefer not to experience as the main character of a story. Right? So if the latter is you, then you'll always find your way to the eye of the storm, where your view of the world, the theme that it is playing out, and the stories that are being told within it are viewed from a perspective that's different from the way the masses see or experience it. But you put on the proverbial, and I was going to bring mine. I couldn't find them this morning, but the proverbial matrix shades, right? And where others see lack, limitation, despair, and fear, you see opportunity, growth, expansion, compassion, and love. It's the same world. It's the same themes. It's the same stories, but different experiences of reality. Okay. And as mentioned in the intro today, one of the best, most profound and direct ways to influence the program of the Infinity Matrix is to do it through the structure of a good story. Crafting and customizing a life story for inner and outer evolution. You see, Your whole life, you've been unconsciously creating the story that you've lived or are living now. It has happened beyond your conscious awareness. And while your unconscious is programmed to support your survival, it doesn't always have the guidance or wisdom to also program ease and flow and abundance that your conscious mind desires. And we can't blame it, right? Can't blame your unconscious mind, though, because if you think about it, it has a lot of things to take care of. Okay, and a hierarchy in which to roll out those tasks. And at the top of the list, as it should be, is the essentials for survival, like beating your heart, breathing, digesting the foods and processing foods, looking after the function of the systems and the organs, and a whole array of other things that we never consciously think about. And on that hierarchy list of priorities, putting together your fairy tale life story is far down the chain of events. Okay. Right. And so this is why you need to step up and help out by looking at the structure of the stories that have made an impact in your life, to extract the ingredients or the matrix codes that then craft a new story that you can program at the unconscious level for it to establish as a new reflection of the reality you prefer. In our master lab, crafting your life story for inner and outer evolution, we experiment with themes, stories, phrases, and words in a way that formulates into a life story of empowerment, possibilities, and ongoing growth and evolution. And the really cool thing is that it doesn't matter where you are in the chapters of your life right now. The Master Lab will meet you where you are at and propel you towards where you want to go. I've had clients who've been drowning in the despairs of the drama that surrounds them, and they decide that it's time to end that chapter or story and start a brand new one. So they consciously rewrite or craft from scratch the life they prefer and then hand over the programming to the unconscious to create conscious, unconscious coherence that lights up the path for a more uplifting and soul-fulfilling experience. And I've also had clients who are thick in the plot of setting new standards of excellence and innovation, who also understand the power of crafting their life story and continue to revisit, refine, and reinvent what is possible for themselves. They understand that complacency is the symbolic toe in the water that can trick you into sinking dark and into the dark and suffocating storylines before you even know it. So the first question is, what's the life theme you've been living? What's the life theme you've been living? Does it include getting caught up in the drama and uncertainties of the outside words? Have you been playing out past failures or achievements and doing them on repeat because you got convinced that they define who you truly are? If you were sitting by a fire with a group of friends or strangers, what would be the life stories you'd be sharing and the meanings they contain? And then think about it. Is there a momentum of those stories moving you into your future that seems to be beyond your control or choices? Well, if you've listened to any of our content in the past, okay, we've demonstrated in many ways and given you plenty of tools, plenty of resources to realize that you've got more power and more choice than you've been led to believe when it comes to your ability to influence your reality, to influence your power and the resources that you have access to. Power and resources that, when applied, will absolutely astound you and those around you until it becomes the norm. And then, right, it's then just expected as you play out your new life theme. So we invite you to make this year the year you decide how you want your days, weeks, months, and years to play out for you, where you can spend time with the people you want to, and you can live where you want to, where you can attract as much abundance in whatever ways that you need to. You can experience the levels of health, vitality, and radiance that reflects your connection with your infinite all that is. And whether you know it or not, you've always been the muse or creative inspiration. You've been the writer, you've been the director, you've been the star, and you've been the supporting roles within your life story. No one else could truly fill those roles because this is your life you're living, your experience you came here to have. And in our Master Lab, we play in the life writer's laboratory to craft a life story with more passion, more purpose, more awe-inspiring relationships, and exceptional and industry-altering results in business, and even overflowing with contagious, vibrant energy and power, so that you can craft your life story as an ongoing work in progress. A work in progress that will begin in that Master Lab and you'll take with you into your everyday experience of the Infinity Matrix, consciously and unconsciously playing out the roles that are most in accordance with the life theme that resonates most with the vibration of your true authentic self. And the thing that is the thing that if you continue to allow, the thing is that if you continue to allow things to just write themselves with influence from the external matrix, then you'll either end up getting more of what you've got so far, or you'll be bounced around in a reality tumbler filled with thrills, bumps, and unpredictable and potentially unrepairable injuries. Okay, it's time to claim your position and power. Dream big and craft those dreams into your reality. We all express our own individual expression of the universal consciousness, and at the core, we are connected with the vibration of our own unique purpose and gifts. It's that purpose and those gifts that we are here to tell the story of. So, what are they? Well, what they are, how they came about, why you are the one to fulfill that destiny, and the role they play in your own evolution and those you impact is the story to tell. So here's the structure we found in the code of the Infinity Matrix, which takes your life story and reflects it back to you as the reality you experience. One of the keys is to craft a story that both inspires you while aligns you and keeps you connected to your true, authentic, spiritually evolving life force. Then you need to make sure that you code and program that story into the matrix internally and externally so that it lives both inside of you and unfolds outside of you as the reality you design. So when you're crafting this life story, it's important to understand that your unconscious really only understands and accepts things as reality if they are presented in the here and now, which means the best way to craft your life story, even if it's a short story within a bigger one, or a chapter of many to come, or even a side story to build the excitement and the body of the ultimate theme. The best way to craft it is to write it in the present tense, as if you are living it now. Now you think about it. When you're reading a book, or you're watching a show or a movie, right? Or even listening to a story, someone telling you a story, they're always talking to you on the journey. They're always taking you on the journey from the perspective of the character or characters being in their now. Okay? Even if it's a story that has time travel, you always get the now perspective. Okay? You can't follow a story that might happen in the future or a memory that could have happened in the past. You have to be taken to the now point of the past or the future for that story, right? Or the stories within a story to unfold. So in crafting a life story for inner and outer evolution, we suggest that you make it positive and uplifting, and that it represents a compelling vision of your future, filled with all the things that you want most in all 8 dimensions of your reality, which we talk about in our 5-day challenges and throughout other live streams as well. So that's your career, your finances, self-growth, your health, your relationships, your charity and contribution, your life enjoyment or playtime, and your spirituality. And whatever those mean for you, the more you can encompass and include those 8 dimensions of your reality into your life story, the more powerfully it will be programmed into the Infinity Matrix as a reality for you to experience. And as you're crafting your life story, you can bring it to life with more complete and engaging ways by adding elements of your senses, right? In more engaging senses and details, adding as much personal, relatable details as possible, making sure you add in the ingredients of reality-based experiences of where you are, when things are happening, what and who is needed to verify the reality of that story as it's being told and as it's being experienced, and why those things are essential and important to the overall theme, the overall mission or purpose for crafting this particular life story that you're living. So, to the reader, you should be painting a picture of yourself and the experience that resonates in complete alignment with that inner spark or inner fire that represents the purpose and gifts that are uniquely yours. And the more you can make the reader feel it, the more the real it becomes in the code of the matrix. And the more powerfully you'll be programming it into a reality experience. So once you have your story, the way you want reality to be designed, once you've got that, you will then review and rehearse the pivotal scenes regularly in order to create the neurological, the physiological, and the quantum vibrational connections that are necessary to craft a reality that is different from the one you've become accustomed to. And by doing this, you'll have a life storyline that is programmed and running under the surface of conscious awareness, yet connected to source, God force, or all that is, whatever you call it, that energy that compels you to make the right choices at the right times, in the right places, and for the right reasons. And whenever necessary, it will move you beyond previously conditioned limitations. It'll dissolve or just leave behind any debilitating fears and keep you focused on living a life aligned with your true desires. This is one of the ways you'll harness the power of the Infinity Matrix and attract the people, the places, and the resources just as you desire them to be.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. So I'd like to leave you with this Native American proverb. And it goes like this: the one who tells the story rules the world. Because stories have the potential to be incredibly powerful. They're able to change how we relate to each other and help us relate to ourselves. Stories of your past shape the story of your future. Once upon a time is a time now. What story will you be telling the world? And with that, we want to thank you for joining us. And a last reminder, if you enjoy our content and would like to consume more, you can find us on YouTube by using the handle @Infinity Matrix and see all of our previous episodes. So this is episode 98, but there's actually this is 98 of our live streams, but we also have our interviews and our time clips, and we've just started doing shorts. So there's lots there. So we appreciate it. If you do go there, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so that you are always up to date where we're at. And again, as Gary said, if you are already watching our content there, you can also join our private Facebook group, The Infinity Matrix. It's a growing community of almost 9,000 people, all of like-minded souls with the desire to grow and evolve. It's free, and all you have to do is go to facebook.com/groups/The Infinity Matrix, answer all the entry questions, and you'll be automatically accepted. And you also get the opportunity to join our VIP list for exclusive content throughout the year. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year.
2023 is going to be awesome. That's
if
your
you make
new
it,
story.
if you choose it. Yes, absolutely.
That is your new story.
And we like to leave you with the challenge.
This time of year. Yeah, Gary, tell them about our challenge that's coming up next month.
Challenge is coming up in a couple of weeks, a 5-day challenge. So keep an eye out for that. We will be posting. We have an awesome 5-day challenge to kick off the new year with you. And in the meantime, until we connect next, we dare you to be exceptional. The only way to do that is to implement what you learn and learn from what you implement. So until next time, be well. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you soon.
You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
So we truly hope you enjoyed this latest live stream. Each week, we bring you the best in cutting-edge techniques and processes to help you better yourself and create the reality you desire. In order to stay notified for more live streams like this, as well as any upcoming interviews, master labs, or time clips, be sure to click the like button and ring that bell. As a matter of fact, you might be ready to step things up for yourself. You see, everything and everyone you've been exposed to in our live streams all have one thing in common. They've harnessed their own potential, claimed their badass self, raised their game, and leveled up. Whether it be in business, personal, romantic, for whatever dimension of life you choose, there's always a next level. So we encourage you to rekindle your passion, your purpose, and spirit, and step it up, and register for our next free 5-day badass challenge. The link is below, and we are excited to see you take a leap into a new reality that only you can imagine.